Are you a chiropractor with a struggling practice, having a hard time finding and keeping patients? Is your staff falling short of expectations? I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and DC Trainings has the answers that you need. So tune in now and find out how. Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC Trainings. I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and I'm excited about our webinar today. Today is a continuation of the Lifetime Care module, and we are currently in week 6, which is the progress exams section of this series. So happy to be with you today. Sorry if I sound a little bit distracted, but I'm really excited about our new website. There's just some amazing stuff we've been working on, and I've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to share it with you today. And so I'll come back to that in a few minutes and get into the details of that. But for today's webinar, as I said, we're going to be talking about progress exams. And just to kind of set the stage here, what's great about this is that it gives you, the doctor, and CAs all a chance to really participate in your patient's care. It's both from the front desk to meeting individually with patients through the CAs, and of course, your interactions as the doctor. We're able to continue keeping our patients engaged with the process of becoming healthier through chiropractic care. And it gives us and our patients a milestone to shoot for. And I'm just going to frame this for you because, as an example, if you've ever had a gym membership or had a goal for health, maybe, coming out of the holidays, maybe you had a little too much sugar or something and your health took a dive. I know we've probably all been through that at some point with the holidays, but, and you decided you wanted to get on track. You wanted to get your health to jump up to a new threshold. And in doing so, either you joined a gym or you decided to, take on a new eating program or diet program or whatever it was, but you gave yourself a goal. And that is important because it gave you something to strive for, which becomes a catalyst for things like action steps and steps along the way that you want to incorporate. So that catalyst is established by setting that goal. And when you have patients that come in and they don't have a goal, it's hard to keep them motivated to continue on past the pain relief stage, unless, of course, they've had some miraculous chiropractic, enhanced health changes. Then, obviously, if it's been a life-changing experience, then that in of itself will motivate someone to continue on with the care. But by and large, for most patients, they have these great improvements through chiropractic care, but they still need to be motivated to continue. So today we're going to talk about one of the key aspects of increasing your retention and your motivation for patients to continue on with their chiropractic care to get the best results. So let's jump right in and I'll show you how this works. Quickly, before I do, I want to remind you that on November 5th is our next seminar, and that'll be on goals and marketing. And I'm really excited because I have some new added materials for this upcoming seminar. And not only that, but we're starting to come in for a landing on this whole year, right? 2022 we're in the fourth quarter now. We're sort of coming into an end of the year, and it's a great time to reflect back on what you've accomplished, both in terms of your goals that we set last year and what you've set, the goals that you've set for this year. But it's also a great time to start planning for what you want to accomplish in 2023. It might seem odd to say that, but yes, 23 is right around the corner, and we want to have plans ahead of time so that we know what we're going to accomplish in the coming year. So I really look forward to seeing all of you at this upcoming seminar. It's on November 5th. We'll start at 10 a.m. It's in my office, so please attend in person. Bring your team. I can't tell you how important this has been for my practice, in the sense that I've had 2 of my CAs have been with me for 14 years, 16 years, and every year we sit down and we set our goals and we strategize and we plan for what we want to do in the coming year, both in terms of patients we want to serve, personal goals that we might have, income targets that we want to set, all of that gets incorporated into these goal planning meetings with me and my team so that they can look forward to their big accomplishments in the future as well. And that's why, I've had CAs that have been with me and part of my team and fully committed for way over a decade, almost 2 decades now. And they've made a career decision around this. So I know some of you on our call right now are newer CAs. And so you'll want to look forward to this upcoming seminar as well. It's going to be a big, big ticket for you to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, both in work or career and in your personal life in 2023. So really exciting seminar coming up. And I look forward to seeing you all here. This is one of the few that we've had so far this year where I'll be actually hosting it live in my office. So again, I encourage you, come out, share the day with us. We'll have a great time. Afterwards, we're actually going to go to a really nice restaurant that's right on the beach and the ocean overlooking the water. So if you're bringing your team and you want to get some extra perks for being a great employer or a great boss, bring your team and come down and check out the ocean, and we'll be right over the water. It's a beautiful spot that we'll go after the seminar to continue our goal setting and planning for the new year. So anyways, just coming up on November 5th, just 3 weeks away. So let's dive in here, because the way that the progress exam works is that this occurs at the halfway point between the report of findings and the completion of corrective care. And I want to explain this for you because this is something that not everybody's real clear on, but it's pretty straightforward once you understand it. So when a patient starts care at the report of findings, we're setting them up for a 12-month care plan, right? DC Trainings, our motto or our tagline, if you will, is lifetime care 1 year at a time. So we set that year of chiropractic care up for them. That doesn't mean that they're going to have a year of corrective care where they're coming in, frequently for adjustments to get their spine corrected. No, what it means is that we're going to set up an initial corrective care series. Let's just suppose that's an 8-week series of appointments. Okay. So over 8 weeks, they'll be coming in for their corrective care. After 8 weeks, it'll transition into supportive care, which also is known as wellness care, right? And that will bridge the gap between the end of corrective care and the 12-month completion of that 12-month care plan, right? So there's 2 parts within that care plan. The whole care plan is a year. So that's why on your screen, again, it says that this occurs at the halfway point between the report of findings and the completion of corrective care, not completion of the care plan, just the corrective care part, where we're going to transition them over to their supportive or wellness care. Okay. So just keep that distinction in mind, because of course, once we complete the progress exam, then what's the next milestone? The next milestone to keep your patients engaged with their care and keep them moving forward is the completion of corrective care. Okay. This is just the halfway point. Okay. So let's keep going and let's talk about the process of this, because there's 2 parts to this. There's going to be a day 1 and a day 2. So it's going to happen over 2 visits. Now, you might ask why that is. I'm going to stop my screen for just a second because I want to frame this for you. For those of you who have, we all have different levels of practice. Some of you have smaller practices. Some of you have very busy practices. So the reason why I want to frame this is because I'll use my office. I have a very busy practice. So for me to come in and do the first part of the progress exam, review the results, and do the second part and explain those results would take too much time with one patient on one visit. So we can split it up into 2 visits. That way, instead of being, 10 minutes at one time, I could do 5 minutes at 2 separate times. And by breaking it up, it doesn't pull me into a room with one patient for an extended period of time while other patients wait around for too long, right? So that's one advantage. But the other advantage, which is actually my favorite, is that you're actually building suspense. You're building suspense by doing the exam on the first day. And I know I could sit down right after I do the exam and I could review the results and I could let the patient wait for me. And then I could basically, come back up for air and say, okay, I reviewed the results. Now let me tell you how you're doing. But there's an element of suspense. There's an element of building value around chiropractic care. So by breaking it up into 2 and having the first part, which I'll show you right now, where we're getting information, and then we're reporting the results of that information at the next visit, the patient then is anticipating, wow, I wonder how I'm doing. I can't wait to go back for my next adjustment. They're going to tell me the results of my evaluation. So, it's much like, and I don't want to compare chiropractic to medicine because we're, two totally different paradigms of healthcare, but it's almost like going into a doctor's office and they get the blood test, and then they don't just tell you what the blood test says right then and there. They wait for the results to come in. They schedule another visit, and then they report on those results later after they've had a chance to review them and incorporate them with the rest of your examination. The same is true here. The same principle applies. So let's go back to our screen and we'll dive into this. So the progress, or the day one, as I said, there's going to be day one and day two. The reception CA prepares the progress exam, and I'll show you that, and then greets the arriving patient. The patient answers the questions on the page, which I'll show you, and then the CA now escorts that patient to a private room. Okay, so I know some of you have just a single doctor office. It's just you and there's no CAs, and that's okay. I would still recommend that you do this with your patients. For those of you who have just one CA where you're seeing patients and your CA is running the front desk, I want to really stress this, doctors. It's going to be more valuable to your practice if you allow your CA to do what I'm about to show you while you cover the front desk. Okay, so don't miss that opportunity. I know there's some doctors right now saying, CAs, close your ears, don't listen to that. I know, but remember, my main focus is about you having a successful, profitable practice and retaining your patients so that they get the best results. That's my main focus with DC trainings. So for your CA to switch with you is going to build value for your patients, and it's going to build value for your CA, because for a CA to be able to participate in patient care at the level that I'm showing you is a huge plus in terms of their retention, their longevity, and their commitment to chiropractic. Okay, so let's jump into this next slide here, because now the patient's in the room, right? My CA now is in the room with the patient because my CA escorted them back to the room. Or for those of you who also have larger practices, you'll have an associate doctor do this part. And this is important from the standpoint that if you have an associate doctor and you have them do day one of the progress exam, that keeps them engaged with your patients, so that doctors, when you're on vacation and you're not in the office and you want your associate doctor to take on your role of adjusting patients, you're not going to have patients that decide not to come in because they don't know who this other doctor is, and they'll just wait till you get back. We want to have continuity of care with both doctors. So if you have an associate doctor, have them come in and do this first part of day one. So we'll just use a CA in this example. So CA comes in, compliments the patient, and adds the primary concerns. And I'll show you this in a moment on the form, but we're going to basically say, it's great to take care of you, John Smith. We really appreciate you as a patient. And I want to review the things you shared with us when you first came into your first appointment. So we review those. Then the next part on the form is to ask for improvement. And there's a percentage for this. So now that I've reviewed these primary concerns that you had when you came in, you had circled a 50% improvement. That's great. Do you still feel like that's accurate? Yes, I do. Okay, great. And then, so you just kind of repeat that and then keep moving, because we're going to go through this little cycle in our conversation with the patient. So now that you've shared with me that, yes, it's 50% is a good estimate of your improvement, tell me about the remaining areas that you're concerned about, the remaining problems. And we want the patient to be specific. So I feel better is not very specific. We want to know specifically how their improvements have changed those areas where they were affected by their primary concerns. In other words, if you jump back to module 2 for new patient, we were asking our patients to share with us what their primary concerns were and the effects of those primary concerns. How is it affecting you at home, work, and with your hobbies? So now we want to be specific in terms of the improvements that they've seen and how that has benefited them in order to be able to do the activities that they have at home, at work, and with their hobbies, right? So we're doing all three of those. So that's why it says be specific. Now, once we've done that, once we've said, okay, tell me where you're still having trouble. And I'm not in, I'm sorry, we got the improvements, right? Now tell me where you're still having trouble. Well, those are well, actually, let me go through it and then I'll do a recap. Then we're going to perform the exam. Okay. And the exam is customized per the percentage improvement that they circle. Now you could record it like you did in your new patient exam. I leave that up to you. I don't record mine, but I know some of you do. So that's fine. You could record it, and if your volume's high enough and you need to move quickly, you can record it to be more efficient with your time. But anyways, so then we're going to perform the exam. Now we're going to customize it based on the percentage improvement, which means on the percentage scale, and we'll come to this in a moment when I show you the forms, but on that percentage, if the patient circled, say, 20%, that means that they're not really as far along as we had hoped, because since they're at the halfway point, we had hoped they're going to be right in the 40 to 60% range. So if they circled 20% or 10% or even 0%, then as we go through the exam, we're going to customize the exam and showcase or emphasize the tests that are showing improvements. Okay, we want to really give them good complementary feedback in terms of the tests that are showing improvements. Now, I know that there's probably some tests, especially if the patient's still not seeing as much improvement as we want, there's going to be some tests that are still abnormal, right? Because not everything's resolved and gone. And it's not that I want you to make anything up, of course. I would never ask you to do that. But what I am saying is at least take some of the tests that are showing improvement to give them encouragement about the changes that you're seeing. See, remember, this is the halfway point between when they started and the end of their corrective care. It's the halfway point, meaning that we weren't even expecting their spine to be fully corrected yet. It's actually only halfway. So if they're not showing a lot of improvement yet, we still have a lot of room to change things or to continue our progress so that they do improve by the time we get to the end of their corrective care. So we still have lots of time. So we want to customize the exam based on that. Now, if somebody circled, say, 90% or 100% better, then that, in my mind, means they might be fooled into thinking their subluxations are already gone or stabilized prematurely. So in those cases, we're going to let them know, here's some tests that I'm still concerned about. Okay. We're not going to emphasize as much around the tests that are showing the improvement. Okay. So we want to customize the exam per their percentage improvement. Okay. So let's just go through this real quickly. I'm going to compliment them. You know, Bob Smith, it's great to take care of you. We really appreciate it. You've been a great patient. And when you first came in, you shared with us that you've been having headaches, you were having allergies, and that was really affecting you. You were having trouble sleeping at night. You were taking Sudafed. You were having trouble concentrating at work. Tell me how you've benefited since you've started getting adjusted. Tell me what's better. And Bob says, oh, this is better. That's better. That's great. That's exciting. I'm happy to hear that. Now, tell me where you're still having trouble or where you're still concerned. And Bob says, I'm concerned about this. I'm concerned about that. That's still hurting. Wow. Well, thanks so much for sharing that with me. Really appreciate your feedback. And we're going to do some tests now to determine what areas we can still work on to reach that better improvement. So now we'll go ahead and do the exam. So we do the exam. You know, Bob, you're showing great improvement here. Your flexibility is a lot better on this side. Now here, when I do this test, that's compressing the subluxation. Since that's still sore, that tells me we still have work to do. So I want to make sure that I note that in your file, and we'll, you know, continue to keep a close eye on that. Okay, so that's the flow, right? Now let's continue on, and I'll show you how this continues. Okay, so the next step is after the exam to get feedback about care and services. So we did the exam. Now I want to kind of take a step back and say, Bob, just in general, with regards to your care in the office, your appointment times, anything in the office that we can do to serve you better? Any questions that you have? Nope, I'm good. Everything's great. My appointments are great. Cost is fine. Or it could be that Bob has concerns about those things, right? It could be that he says, you know, my appointment times are really stressing me out because I'm getting to work late sometimes. And so we want to address that. Or he might say, how much longer am I going to have to be making these payments? It's stretching my budget. Probably good that we know about that, right? So we want to ask those questions. And the three areas that are important to ask about is cost, his payments or his financial arrangements, schedule, meaning appointment times, and comfort with adjustments. Those are the three areas that you want to get feedback on in terms of this milestone in the care. Then Once we're done with the exam, have the patient lay down to wait for the doctor, leave the completed room outside or completed form outside the room. Okay, so they lay down, now they're going to get adjusted. That's the little consultation that goes with the progress exam. And that's what that looks like. So here's the form outside the room. Imagine that there's a patient laying down right here. And then I would come in and do my part. Now I'm going to do the exam by the DC, right? So here, because it's the progress exam, I'm going to move a little slower because it needs to feel like a separate and distinct appointment from their ongoing visits, their regular adjustments, their routine adjustments, right? This has to feel different so that they experience this as a different appointment. It's a milestone, right? So slower palpation, a little more firm, a little more testy, right? Testing the tissues, feeling for myospasms, feeling for muscle tension, feeling for swelling around the subluxations, that type of thing. Then let the patient know we're going to compare their progress to the residuals. Okay, so in other words, let's say I'm seeing that there's still some problems here. And let me just jump over here again. I'm still seeing some pressure in your lower back. Those subluxations are still really compressing the nerves in a way that I can feel your muscles are tight, and you even shared with us it's kind of sore. So I'm going to compare your progress so far, because in this other area, I'm seeing some good changes, but then down here, I know we still have work to do. So let me review this carefully. And then when you come back in, I'll at your next appointment, I'll have reviewed everything. I'll give you feedback on the results, and we'll keep moving forward. Okay, so see how I'm kind of laying this out in a way that lets the patient know it's very methodical, it's very detailed, and we're very attentive to their needs in terms of the progress of their chiropractic care, right? So that's important. We're going to study the results until the next visit. That whole process takes about 10 minutes. Now, again, just to go back to where we started, because it may not take a full 10 minutes, it may take more than that. It may take less than that. That depends on your style of adjusting and your the overall flow of your practice. But where I started all this was to say, in your normal patient flow with your appointment times, if you're keeping your appointment times efficient, how would it affect the flow of your patients if I just randomly added another 10 minutes to one of your patient visits? That'd be too long, right? So we want to make sure that we're breaking, well, actually it'd be more than 10 minutes in this example, because we haven't even got to the day 2 part. That's just the first part. Now we're going to go into the second part. So here's day 2 at the patient's next visit. So the patient walks in, we're going to just send them right to a private room, ask them to place the form outside the room, lay down to await the doctor. And as you may have seen on that picture, and this is recorded, so if you want to come back and watch this, you can. The name was highlighted on that form so that you could, when I walk up, I know that this is day 2 of a 2-day sequence. If I walk up and the form's outside the room and the name is not highlighted, then I know it's the first day. Okay. Now I could look at the date and I would see, oh, today's, the 20th or whatever, and I'll know it's not today's date. But to me, because I'm moving quickly, I just want to see the highlight or no highlight. That tells me right away, this is either the first day or it's the second day. I'm either doing the exam or I'm going over the results. And then I grab the paper as my cheat sheet to follow the flow of what I need to do. Okay. So that's why we say the name is highlighted on there. So they go back to the private room, they lay down, I walk in, I review the form. I'm going to go ahead and go through a sequence that's on my part now as the doctor. I'm going to compliment them and review the care plan, emphasize the next milestone, reconfirm a clear 100, and then adjust them. Now, if you watch the video, because you'll see if you go on to the website, you'll see the video, but the video actually has me sort of doing all of this during the adjustment, right? Because as I'm adjusting the patient, I'm first going to palpate their spine, and I can point out, here's where we saw some really good changes in your spine. There's less inflammation around the subluxations, which means they're healing. Okay, let's go ahead and do that adjustment. There you go. Great adjustment. Now down here, this is the area that we really want to stay focused on moving forward, because this is where we have more progress that we need to reach, and we still have more correction that needs to happen. So let's go ahead and adjust you there. Good. Okay. So that's going to be our focus. We'll focus on everything, but that's going to be one of our main focuses moving forward until the next milestone. And that's going to be when we take your x-ray. At this point, I've finished their adjustment, right? I've adjusted them. Actually, I think it is on the next slide. So let me just jump over here. No, actually, let me go back. Okay. So, excuse me, because I do their adjustment. Now I'm going to review as the doctor how their experience has been going with their care. Now, we asked about it in the beginning. What did we ask? We asked for 3 things. We asked for appointment times, cost, and results. Now, I didn't do that on the first visit, but I do see notes that my CA did it or my associate doctor did it. There's notes there saying, check all good with payments, all good with appointments, all good with results. That's great. Now I'm going to ask though on the day 2 part. So that would look something like this. I would say, John, just wanted to say, I really appreciate taking care of you. I am seeing some good changes. I'm also seeing some areas that we need to still see improvement. So I just want to make sure as we're moving forward, because we're going to take another x-ray down the road here, and that'll be in X amount of time. So I want to make sure that you're committed to following along as we had planned. You had indicated in the beginning that you were 100% committed. So is that still the case? Yes, it is, Doc. Great. So as far as your payments, your appointment times, your comfort with the adjustments, is there anything we can do to serve you better or any questions that you have? Nope, I'm good. Okay, perfect. We'll keep up the good work. Let me walk you up front and I'll let the front desk know. Okay, so that's my part where I'm now, engaged with their care. My CA or my associate doctor did it on the first visit. I'm doing it on the second visit. So then we're going to walk up to the front desk and convey these results to my CA. Now this is fun because, and I know for many of you, you have, other patients in your lobby that are waiting when you walk up front, right? So there's other people that are going to hear this, and you're not disclosing anything that's confidential, but they're going to hear about the experience that your patient's having. So when I walk up to the front, I'll say to my CA, Brenda, I just want to let you know that John's doing great with his progress. We went over the results. He's doing good. I am looking forward to that next milestone that's coming up. So please review his appointment times, make sure they're set up good, and get that on the calendar because we'll be looking forward to that when it comes up. Again, John, great job. Let's keep up the good work, and I'll see you at your next appointment. And then I turn and walk away. Now that was me conveying the results and repeating the next milestone. I'm just going to change something there. Now, let's say there was no patients in my lobby. I just gave you the example where we kept it pretty confidential, right? So let's say there was no patients in the lobby. Then I might say something like, Brenda, John did great on his progress exam. So we're actually going to look forward to taking his next x-ray. That'll be in another 6 weeks. And so just make sure you go over his appointment times. He actually had a question about his payments. He wants to actually set it up to where it's bi-monthly instead of once a month. So if you could help him with that. And also just confirm that date for his next x-ray, because I'm looking forward to that. See, so that I can gauge it whether I'm more confidential because there's patients within earshot, or I can just go right into detail and share that with my CA so that she can get a little bit more excited about those specifics. Or a third part is that I'm going to be more specific because I know based on this patient's history of missed appointments that we need to be attentive to that, right? It could be that I say, Brenda, if you could help John, his results came out great. He's doing good. But if you could help me out with something, I know he's missed several of his appointments. So if you could just lock in the best time that works for him. And I look at John because I really want to make sure you're consistent with your appointments, that we don't miss any more appointments. Okay, John? Yep, Doc, I won't miss any appointments. Okay, that's perfect. So Brenda, if you could work with John to make sure he doesn't miss any more appointments, let's set those times up so it's as convenient as possible for him. And then we'll look forward to more progress and we keep going. See, so you can spin that moment in so many different ways to help your patients stay consistent with their care and to build your retention and results. So don't miss that opportunity. But at the same time, you want to protect confidentiality with your patients. Okay, so that's why that's so important. So now my CA will confirm the appointment times and the schedule, go over that, and then the patient leaves the practice. Okay, so that's that day 2 series. That part takes about 5 minutes, pretty quick. So there's the special note. So during the time when I, as the PDC, am on vacation, I'm out of the office, then my associate doctor does all the parts that I would do, and my CA takes on the role that my associate would do. So that way there's just this seamless switch that happens. Now, when I'm in the office, so let's go through this one more time. When I'm in the office, my associate doctor takes the patient back for their progress exam. They do the first part of the progress exam. I come in for the second part and I do the second part, right? Then day 2 happens. The associate doctor is not involved anymore. The CA just sends the patient back to the room. I come along, I see that form outside. I go in, I go over the results, and then I walk the patient back up to the front desk. In the case where I don't have an associate, my CA is going to take the patient back to the private room on the day 1, do the consultation and the exam. I'm going to come in and do my part of the exam and the adjustment. And then, but while my CA is in the room doing that consultation and the exam, where am I, doctors? If I don't have an associate, I'm at the front desk. Very important, right? Give your CAs the chance to do that. On the day 2, nothing really changes because it's me going over the results with the patient. Or if I'm on vacation, my associate doctor goes over the results with the patient and then walks them to the front desk. Okay, so that's the change there that you can play with, and that'll give you the details. So next week, we're going to get into corrective care completion, but I want to jump over to the website because, oh, hang on, there we go. I want to show you the forms that are here for you to download. And I also, as I said when we started, I have this to share with you. Now, this is our new website. I told you this was coming. This has been coming for a long time. So, and I call it the back end of the website. All the database and the financial or payment information, all that stuff, all that's totally protected. It's secure. What this is this is just the front page of our website that's been redone, and it sort of showcases some different parts of my practice. So you can see those when you go to the website now, you'll be able to see it. Now, as far as joining the webinars, let me just move my mouse over. If you want to jump on a webinar, just it's the same format that you're used to. So you would just click on webinars, and there's a real nice video about the webinars here. And then you'll just scroll down and jump onto this week's webinar right here. So you'll just register there to go to the webinar. Now, for the seminar, to register for the seminar, I need your help with this. This is important. You're going to go to the upcoming seminar. So we'll have a button right here that you'll use to log into the seminar remotely, just like you're used to. There'll be a button here, and you'll access the seminar directly here. That is if you're not going to come in person. I'd actually much rather that you come in person. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be a great day. But as far as those of you who are going to join remotely for the seminar, you will just come here. There'll be a button to get into the seminar remotely. But check this out on here. We have lots of good information there. There's a map to the seminar. I do want to just share with you, because today is our day for our quarterly meeting. And we're going right into the 4th quarter of 2022. So for those of you who have been tracking this, you're going to really appreciate what I'm about to show you, because there's a huge part of our meeting today that's going to be dedicated to reaching our goals for the year. Now, we're doing great. We've had a really solid year, lots of great results. But I want to just show you this because one of our big focuses today is to get 2 of our success rates to climb up. So the ones that are obviously doing well, we have this 104% for new patients. So we're doing great there. Reported findings, we want it to be 80% or above. 85 is a great number. We're doing good. I'll jump to here. Care plan renewals, we want it to be above 90%. We're at 96. So 3 out of the 5 are rock solid, ahead of schedule. There's 2 that are in the 90th percentile. So 93% for patient visits, 96% for revenue. So for our topics today in my quarterly meeting, which all of you should definitely have this with your team. Take your team out to a lunch and just sit down and hash out your goals. Get those numbers in there. Look at your success rates for the year, because that is the catalyst for hitting your goals. And I know right now there's, I think, Stephanie, you're a relatively new CA, right? So having goals set and having a plan for reaching those goals is going to really help you to build confidence with your role in the practice, whatever your focuses are, and with helping you to just get more satisfaction out of your career in chiropractic. If you know you're striving for a goal and you know what your objectives are, then it really makes it that much more tangible and fun to strive for that. So, okay. So anyways, let's keep going because I want to just show you, here's the forms, right? Here's the progress exams outline. So we went over this, but the CA performs part 1 in a private room, and there's the 8 steps. DC comes in and performs the second part in a private room. And again, that could be a CA or a DC. Then we go to the progress results. That's the day 2 or the second part, which is done by the DC. And those are all the 7 steps that go with that. So you can use that form just to follow along with the training for your team and implementing this into your practice. And we also have videos on the website too. Here's the script. I'm not going to read through the script with you specifically, but this script goes through each of those steps and shows you, not only the first part of the progress exam, but it also goes into the second part, the progress exam. We call it A because in the Platinum system that we use, it allows for 1 letter. So it's R for day 1, A for day 2. If you do use Platinum system, that's an easy way to remember that. Then we also have the progress exam form, which you can go to the website. I'll show you. Here we have our resources page. So just go to the custom forms over here on progress exam. This is the blank one. So this one you just print right out off the website and then use this form in your practice. Or here we have a sample for you. So this is what you got in your materials. Oh, which by the way, this Friday, we're mailing out your materials for module 6. So watch for that in the mail. But for those of you who are coming in person, we'll have it here for you. So when that's why you have to let us know, are you coming in person or do you want us to mail it to you? But I'd obviously much rather that we can just present that to you as a big welcome gift when you walk in the office for the seminar. And so we'll have those for you, but those will be going out this week for all of our members. So there's the progress exam sample, which goes through all the different areas. It also has the exam form on the back, which I can't tell you how much I love this exam form or I can tell you how much I love this exam form, but the reason is because it's so fast. I mean, it's literally just right in the numbers. P down here, there's a legend, but TTP is tenderness to palpation, and a P after the number means it was reduced by 50% with pain. So like right up here, you see 25P. That means that their range of motion was restricted by 25% with pain. For those of you who are training your CAs, I think it's cool that cool, I guess it's very valuable that your CAs are participating with the exam. I know that with CAs, they don't have quite as much training as we do with determining just how much limitation there is. So if you're a doctor who wants to be really precise with your range of motion findings, just get a digital inclinometer and your CAs can help get those measurements right down to the exact degree of restriction. So I highly recommend that if you want that precision. For myself, I go more general. So I block it into 4 sections of 25%. So their range of motion is either reduced by 25%, 50%, 75%, or it's reduced by 100%. I just had a patient come in this week on Monday, 100% restriction in his low back. He could not move. He was almost carried in. So he was completely locked up. Just saw him yesterday for his second adjustment. He's well over 50% improved in his range of motion. So in other words, he's gotten 50% of his range of motion back after just 2 adjustments. So really exciting changes with chiropractic. It just is amazing to see miracles every day with the people that we help. But I do want to just jump back over here because with that exam form, the ability to document this in a way that is just makes it fast for you and also for your CAs. It just makes it a lot of fun. Now, just for clarity, because I want to show you, I fill out for my part of the exam, it's from this prone exam down over here. And then over here, I fill out all of this. So this is where I palpate the subluxations. This is where I do my prone leg check, ELIs, and then I palpate their spine. So this is where I'm doing all of that. Everything above that is done by my CAs, range of motion, other orthopedic tests. And there's 2 columns here showing that we had 1 exam from the new patient. That was when they first came in. That's this whole column. And the second column is from the progress exam, which is the one we're going through right now. So that just gets filled out here. So it might look a little busy on the surface, but this form is really straightforward. It's very simple to use. You can fill it out quickly and quickly enough to where, and I'll add this as the icing on the cake, even when you're doing the exam, you don't need to be writing it down as you go. You can actually do the exam, and then after you're done with the exam, just pause for a minute and then just write down your findings right onto that page. So it makes it really efficient that way, and the patient doesn't have to wait too long. Okay, so that is our materials for today. And as always, it's great to talk to you and share this information. I'll look forward to seeing you in person on November 5th at that Module 6 seminar. Roll up your sleeves, get ready to set some goals. And then in the meantime, I'll see you next week for our next webinar. So as always, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you, and so do your patients. I'll talk to you soon.